All right, we're back to react to that one fighting game video again. Our part 2, if you will. Let's get it started, bro.
Single player content. Oh, we'll get to that. I was willing to look past the fact that it seemed impossible because the vibe pulled me in. But what we're riddling today is, why the fuck do I need so much willpower just to play these games, my dude? Most people just ain't doing all that unless the vibe is super fucking strong, right? It's
People don't learn a fighting game because the vibe is strong. They start playing the fighting game because the vibe is strong. They start learning the fighting game because, oh, I'm getting beat out by these things and this, that, the third. I'm not letting that happen. That's really what it is, bro.
why, yeah, I do play some fighting games, but not very many. There's so much stuff you have to do in order to just enjoy yourself in these games after picking them up for the first time, as they
Yes.
currently stand, unless you opt to just hit buttons. And maybe this is projecting, but I don't think majority of people want to do that for more than maybe a day. But like I said, the other option of actually
So he does understand. He just doesn't understand that the game can't hold your hand through all that learning.
trying to learn and play the game is like starting a chess match without any of the fucking pieces, and you have to go find where they are using outside resources.
Speaking of chess, chess is not that intuitive either, bro.
To give you clues. Oh, but don't worry. The chess game has a manual. We need to lower these hurdles because majority of people are just not doing all that. They just
You can't lower the hurdles unless you change the game.
fucking art. I can deny it. No.
Like, for the longest time, people online have said how there's a tutorial problem with fighting games. And honestly, I'm thinking, bro. I really don't think. No, bro. Nah. What do tutorials really do in fighting games, bro? There's no better tutorial. These are just how these games are. As long as it teaches you what buttons to press, you're fine.
No longer. This needs change. These hurdles being so high is what causes people to form things in their mind that have become so solidified.
No, this is just people not wanting to learn the fighting games. That's what creates this. These hurdles that you speak of to have fun, I guess they create this, but it's not really, it's just how the genre works. It's not really something you fix.
In their mind, but in the gaming scene as a whole. Like, oh, the genre
I guess you're trying to create a ladder for every hurdle. It don't work like that. It's not as much fun.
is too hard. It takes too long to learn. And then there's more specific examples from people's experiences who attempt to get over some of these giant hurdles that form like, oh, but, you know, specific one. What about the motion inputs? All of these are so easily disputed by someone who's familiar with the genre, and I've talked about that before in the past. But I've realized disputing them just doesn't matter for most people at the end of the day. Like, I could relay to you what I think Sajam, maybe it was Diaphone, I don't remember, sorry, said about motion inputs, and it was something like, loose quote, if you're learning a fighting game and the motion inputs are the primary thing causing you to deem the game as incredibly hard, you simply didn't even get far enough into that game to really understand what's even going on. And as a guy who understands fighting games, I'm like, yo, talk yo shit, twin. That shit was facts, because it's totally correct. But I think we should be addressing the larger issue of why so many players are forming crazy Johns like that in the first place. Why?
Hey, I already stated it, because these games are difficult. It takes a lot of time to have proper fun in these games. You need a lot of like legacy skill or something to have fun in these games. You get what I mean?
Genre especially, it's clear things need to change. People love playing Smash because the
What needs to change? What I hope he just gets
vibe of
into
all
that
these
fast.
characters, and many are able to tough it out through the hard times because of it.
No, people don't tough it out through the hard times. Why is Joe Biden on my screen? Bro, what the f? That's just false. I hate it when people just lie. I hate it when people just lie. When have casual Smash players gone through tough times? What?
I've lost it. I'm pulling them out.
Rosalina and Luma.
But that's the thing. Fighting games have crazy allure. I mean, have you seen Granblue's new character? Goddamn. Fighting games have crazy allure to people all over the world. Instead of trying to increase the game's allure, though that's not a bad thing, of course, what we need to focus on is lowering these hurdles and making these games easier. We need to remove motion inputs. Then we need to... Got your ass. You really think... Yeah, I got your ass.
I was locked in. You're not getting me. I'm locked in.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? No, people love hard games. The problem is not the height of the hurdles, it's the drive that motivates people to jump. Making a piss baby easy.
Okay, how do we increase the drive in people? I wonder if he's going to get into that at some point. I don't think he will.
Easy game will in turn make it less cool for probably a lot of people. Again, there's so many people who look at fighting games and think, yo, that shit looks sick, bro. But they don't play.
Okay, we've heard your argument. It's not even an argument. We've heard your observation.
They think the play it. These games need to rethink their packaging and means to motivate. Let's fix the current.
How do you motivate people to learn? Okay, let's see.
Game package to help it flourish.
You do it by increasing the alert, by the way, by creating cool things that they want to learn.
Think of it like fighting games are a diamond in the rough, but we have to address the roughage before they could truly shine for everyone. We are changing the traditional model of
because if fighting games weren't fun to learn, the genre wouldn't exist.
Games, so it no longer purely relies on enough players simply vibing with the game style strong enough to get past the treachery, and we're actually making a product a mass amount of people can more reasonably just have fun in and enjoy out of the box. You wanna know what I would do first to help people feel like these full price games, by the way, are worth their money? Well, first, can we get what is it? Oh yeah, single player content, please. You see, fighting games range from $20 to $60 on average.
Let me explain to you why fighting games don't have single player content. This is gonna be fun. Let's look at two multiplayer games. One with with extensive high budget single player content, and one without. So let's look at, for instance, I don't know, a Call of Duty compared to generic fighting game. What are the things you have to like that you need in these games in order for the online to function? In Call of Duty, you need to be able to move around. You need to be able to jump. And of course, you need guns. Several guns. So basically, how long does it take to develop a gun in Call of Duty? I asked ChatGPT. And basically, they're saying the concept/design, 1 to 2 weeks. Modeling and texturing, 2 to 4 weeks. Animation, 2 to 3 weeks. Sound design, 1 to 2. Effects, 1 week. Programming and implementation, 1 to 2 weeks. But this also looks at the implementing weapon logic, things of that nature that would already be in place after. Like, they would already be programmed after you develop, like, the first gun. These things become a lot faster. Then, on top of that, sometimes multiple guns are being developed at once, often with overlapping timelines. So, let's say, I don't know, in 6 months, they develop, like, 4, maybe even 5 guns. 5 different guns. Within a year... Because, not even, bro. These teams are big as fuck. I think this is probably faulty. Within a year, you would have all the guns designed, the movement designed, everything. And then you got a whole year left to make the single player content. Let's look how long it takes to make a fighting game character. So for Arc System Works, it takes 3 to 6 months per character, bro, depending on the complexity, reuse of assets, and team size. So minimum 2.5 months if they're reusing assets, if it's not a complex character, etc. That's with a full dev team working in parallel, not just one person doing everything. If you want a fighting game roster of like 15 people, which is a low roster, let's say for some reason they were on the faster side, it took 3 months per character. That means it takes 45 months, bro. 45 months just to develop all the characters in the game, with the full team working on it, by the way. So that's already 3.5 years just for the characters. You've not made any stages. You've not done any of the tutorialization things. You've not, any of that is just not, you haven't even touched that yet. So then on top of that, they would need like at least a year to make an extensive like single player experience. You get what I'm saying? That's why fighting games have such low budget and often lackluster single player modes. And also, 90% of the fighting game player base is not interested in single player content within those games.
The games that I play usually feature a main story mode, which can range from okay for maybe a little bit, but not super enjoyable, to just not very fun at all, to be honest. Now, I haven't played...
Once again, Sparking Zero is not a fighting game, bro. Stop showing it.
all of them, obviously. Like, I haven't played Street Fighter 6's single player mode, though I'd be lying if I said most of the enjoyment doesn't look like it comes from making an absolute abomination and seeing them in the cutscenes. That does sound fun. And if there is a single player mode that is really fire, let me know in the comments, because most of these games' single player content just boils down to you fighting the CPU, which, let's be honest, most people just don't find enjoyable. When someone drops 50 to 70 bucks on a fighting game, they should be getting a full experience, bro. And I understand a lot of this video might sound like, yo, Toko's projecting, bro. But that's the thing. And people who are already in the space, I assume, I actually don't mind these, to be completely honest, but I know that other people just ain't doing all that. Like I'm saying,
like that we're not getting single player content, that's why these characters are designed so good. That's why these character rosters are so balanced nowadays. That's why we have such why there's so much depth in these games. You get what I mean?
Smash 4, I just don't think it's fun for majority of people.
But Smash takes a long time to develop characters as well. It takes 6 to 12 months per character. But you gotta understand, the budget of a Nintendo game of Smash Brothers is insane, bro. It's out of this world compared to a Guilty Gear or compared to a Street Fighter. You get what I mean?
To fight the CPU after they've done it once. And they might not even do it once because it's a fucking CPU. I think arcade mode remaining a feature in almost every fighting game is cool because legacy. But other than that, the single player content within most fighting games should be something more interesting. And now I've seen one good one and one crazy amazing hypothetical multiplayer mode that another YouTuber came up with that I just have to share, bro. But the good single player one? Well, would you look at that? It's Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Subspace Emissary. You traverse platformer.
And as you see, even Smash Brothers, with the insane budget that this game has, Ultimate, it just got too much. There were too many characters. They couldn't do this anymore. They were unable to do something of this scale in Ultimate. Sakurai will tell you that they don't do this because all the cutscenes were online, but I promise you, They can't do this anymore, bro. They can't make a single player mode like this because it's not only the cutscenes that have changed, the gameplay of these single player modes has changed too.
Esque levels with a bunch
just because these games are taking way too long to develop, if you made a mode like this, it's gonna be insane.
Unique enemies, turn them into trophies, fight bosses, and you get to see the characters interact in crazy cool cutscenes. Everyone knows about this probably. I would genuinely and unironically play this right this very second. Now, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, the game I'm playing as this video comes out, that game's story mode is sort of like this, but without dynamic stages, hence why I said it wasn't bad when I was speaking in the background, but it's not super crazy, and it wouldn't exactly sell me on the game. And I would consider that to be probably the best single player content I've played out of all of the fighting games I've played outside of Subspace. And I really don't want this video to seem like I'm projecting, but I'm bringing this up because I see online so many people talking about fighting game single player content just not being very good. Like, my tier list looks like this. Most people.
But who out there is like, oh, I don't play fighting games because the single player content isn't good. That's why I don't play fighting games. I would play them, but the single player content just isn't hitting. And how many pro players, how many hardcore fighting game players are on the edge of their seat ready to try a single player mode? They're not. Remember Street Fighter 6's rollout? How much emphasis there was on the World Tour mode? How many people really cared, bro? They didn't. They don't care about this shit.
P. Jiggles had an idea for a Smash Bros. Battle Royale mode. I hate Battle Royales. I love this idea.
Basically what I have in mind is a mode where a ton of players get dropped on a gigantic stage. Something like the Smash Run mode from Smash 3DS, but even bigger. And how it'll work is that you run around, maybe collect some power-ups here or there, and when you run into another player, and maybe when you land a hit, the camera would zoom out a bit, and the edges of the screen would...
Once again, first of all, this splits up the player base. Second of all, it takes way too much time to develop.
Would then become the blast zones. At this point, you start fighting each other, obviously trying to launch your opponent into the newly formed blast zones to KO them, and whoever wins gets to go back to exploring the map.
Maybe Nintendo could implement this. I don't know.
It's the biggest piece of peak that I've ever heard.
Sign me the fuck up. Now, you would have to modify this to work in a 2D and 2.5D fighter, since obviously characters are way more vertically mobile in platform fighters, but oh my gosh, what a crazy ass idea. I love it. I love it. I have no idea how you'd implement this into Tekken, but I could totally see it being a thing in these 2D and 2.5D and arena fighters and stuff, right? This motherfucker is genius. And I get it, it's wishful thinking, but if you figure out a way to do this in this, then that means that you can do this. You see what I mean? So
yeah, no. The player base isn't even large enough for that.
more engaging single player content outside of just fighting the damn CPU, and a great hypothetical multiplayer mode I had to share. But single player specific stuff, genuinely, if every fighting game had a mode as engaging as Subspace Emissary, or literally just copied Subspace Emissary and modified it to better fit like the specific mold and physics of their own game, that would be absolute peak. Not saying they'd have to allocate a shit ton of budget for crazy looking cutscenes, just something more engaging and something that feels like an actual single player mode other than just fighting the CPU. That becoming box standard, oh my gosh, bro. Imagine every game had a subspace, bro. But like I just said, you don't get, you know, that'd be a lot of money, but like you tone it down, you know, it's like, oh my gosh. And that VR mode, absolute cinema for multiplayer. Speaking of which, now it's time for the big one. As discussed, fighting games should remain.
See, here's the issue. I'm gonna show y'all how everyone can enjoy fighting games. I don't know if y'all remember that one YouTuber, JTech TV. He was mad at Elden Ring because it quote unquote wasn't for everybody. Fighting games are not made so everyone can enjoy them. They're not. Fighting games are for a specific audience. Not everybody's gonna like fighting games. That's the point. It's made for a specific audience. It's not made for everyone like some of these other games are. Like a Smash Brothers, for instance. A Smash Brothers is made for everyone. Once again, not saying that Smash isn't a fighting game, but it's not a traditional fighter. Traditional fighting games are not made for everybody to enjoy. And that's why this video, from the start, from the very moment that you had this mindset, from that very moment, this video was cursed to be inaccurate. Because it already misses the point of fighting games.
As discussed, fighting games should remain as they are in terms of sheer difficulty because they're cool. But we need better ways to teach players in-game and build the motivation to jump over these hurdles. In simple terms, a Souls-like player will throw themselves headfirst at a boss 100,000 times because the goal is right in front of them, while a new fighting game player will give up after 10 tries because they didn't even know the boss they were fighting had a health bar. Oh yeah,
What the fuck does that even mean? Can anybody decipher that for me? Because I'm glad he brought up Souls. I'm glad he brought up Souls. Because guess what? That game doesn't teach you anything. Once again, these are the buttons you can press. Figure it out. Figure it out. Those games have progression and stuff like that. It won't teach you what's the good thing to upgrade. You know what I mean? You just figure it out. Do you think a Souls game, what's the number one thing about Souls and bosses in Souls games? Learning the patterns. The games don't mention, not even once, that bosses have patterns, bro. You just, it intuitively, you just learn it. This is how games are. This is video games. This is not a fighting games thing. It's just that fighting games, you have to learn more to have the enjoyment, the same enjoyment. You get what I'm saying?
Fighting game player will give up after 10 tries because they didn't even know the boss they were fighting had a health bar.
Oh yeah, I'll be sure to look at that alongside the 500 other things on the fucking screen.
While fighting
Bro, he said, besides the other 500 things on the screen. Now, of course, there's more things on the screen than there normally would be just because of happy chaos. But let's look at outfit. We have a health bar. We have a burst bar and... the fuck is this bar called? I don't remember. But 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, because this is meter right here, or tension. Let's look at a Souls game. So I pulled up a screenshot of Elden Ring. What's on the screen? So we have currency in the bottom. We have one weapon here. We have a ring here. Here are 2 empty slots. A veil, something else here, ammunition over here. Then I don't know what this is. It might be an objective. We have health, stamina, and something else. Maybe the stamina of the horse. I don't know. Something here. You have a square here. How many things are even on this screen? And of course, the health bar of the boss. 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. And however many fucking squares. Bro, fuck it. Let's keep going. See how the things he says just don't make sense. I wonder if he thinks about the things he says, bro. Over here in the bottom left, you have your health bar, your armor, your currency, the same thing for your teammates. You have your enemy radar over here. You have your compass at the top. Here is how many people are still left. You got your ammunition here, your weapon, your lethal and tactical equipment, I think it is. Then you have your fire type, you know, automatic, semi-automatic, things of that nature. Here you have an icon that shows you how many plates you have. Like, there's more there than here. This is such a simple time, health, burst, whatever this is called, meter. I don't play Guilty Gear. That's why I forgot what the fuck this is called. Like, you can almost criticize every sentence in this fucking video. It's infuriating.
while fighting games make
Did he think before he made this? I really want to know.
give a little wink, nudge to it. Hey, man, you know, maybe you go play a tutorial. I don't know. Most players will just jump straight into online matches because that's what everyone always does with multiplayer video games.
Hey, yeah, the only problem with that is the worst possible fucking thing you can do.
If you purchase a fighting game and dive straight into the Sarlacc pit of online matches versus real people, as the current fighting game model stands, you are guaranteed to have a bad time. Yeah, full stop again. If you play the mode that everyone plays in this multiplayer video game, you are guaranteed to have a bad time.
Once again, it just goes to show maybe you just don't understand fighting games or what makes them what they are. My God. Oh my God. This video is sickening at some point, bro. Because, bro, like I've said ad nauseum at this point, because you keep repeating stupid points. These games, you need to have a certain level of skill to enjoy these games. That's how they're built. That's what they're like. That's just the point of the game.
Now for this thing.
The joy comes from overcoming these things. Like, you being able to then go win matches feels better just because you've struggled before.
That I have in mind, I'm gonna take inspiration from Rainbow Six Siege.
The main reason why that even happens is not because of how the fighting games are made, how they're structured, is because of the lower player base in fighting games. In Rainbow Six Siege, for instance, if Rainbow Six Siege had a smaller player base, a new player would get fucked. Like, straight up, you would be cooked. The only reason why a new player can hop into this and have fun is because the base is so large and they're able to come across people at the same skill level. In fighting games, the main issue is not tutorialization, single player modes. It's always been matchmaking, and that's a real criticism that you can throw out there. What you're doing just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
I'm not loading up Siege X to
For instance, 2XKO has beautiful matchmaking. If you've never played a fighting game before and you go play 2XKO and you hop straight online, you can still have fun.
verify if this is still a thing, because Reddit said it was all just a ruse to transform the game into a free-to-play cash grab, and that's strictly against my religion. But back in the day, this FPS game allowed players level 1 through level 50 to play in an exclusive playlist called Newcomer, the very first mode they see when opening up the game, allowing them to play.
What happens if you put this into, I don't know, Mortal Kombat? You're not gonna find a match. That's just how it is. You're not gonna find a match
Against other newcomers. Smurfing was a problem, but I want to take this idea and expand upon it anyway. When you purchase your brand new fighting game, and by the way, I don't expect like indie fighting games to be implementing all the crazy stuff we're talking about in this video, like that's super developmentally... I started, but you get what I mean. But yeah, you've been playing that new fighting game standard single player story mode like Subspace, or itching to play that new Battle Royale mode, whichever you saw in the trailers. But your new player eyes will notice that real 11 out of 10 gameplay experience that you see people delving into is locked. But not locked in a way that's denying you from it, no. Getting to it is now your new ultimate goal. Newcomer playlist. Players only progress towards unlocking the real ranked mode after completing all of these quests. Quests that are backed by context to show you the value of when and where to use the game's mechanic, movement, and whatever else. You'll be pitted against other players, and sure, you can win the match just by mashing away to your heart's content.
So, what did we just see? One of the main issues is that beginner players, there aren't enough of them. It's hard for them to find other players. Now, this man is suggesting we add another additional mode for beginner players. Like, just the ones like just starting out, and pitting them against each other to learn certain things.
But you won't actually progress towards your goal. Now, in between matches, you'll see your quest or contract of sorts. This shifts the goal entirely. The game won't say win or lose when your health bar reaches 0. It will simply be checking whether or not you completed your goal for the game by the time that this does happen. Quests will span all across the game's system mechanics until you've learned and applied them all, showing players the value and challenging...
Now, how you could implement this is just adding it to normal online, and these quests, instead of unlocking the full online experience, these quests just give you points, and then you can use that for cosmetics or things like that.
Toko, won't people just camp and fish for completing their quests that you're talking about? Yes, but they'll quickly learn that that's a bad strategy. Think about it. This system will teach them that they need to be calculated. If your quest tells you to successfully land a super dash in Fighter Z, you will quickly learn that just spamming it to try and cheese out the quest will not work, just like in a real match. Assuming that you and your...
But in your version, if that person just hits a super dash once, they're good. They've completed their quest because you said it didn't matter if they win or lose. Now, if you add this to online, just a regular online mode, I think that will work a lot better.
Opponent both read the actually useful tip in between matches. Yeah, tips are actually useful now, by the way. You're now both forced to be calculated and cunning. You're now both...
Like, this doesn't need to be a separate mode. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it doesn't need to be a separate mode at all.
Learning how to truly use this mechanic. Span this across every mechanic and important normal move, which there aren't really that many in most games, to be completely honest. And
there aren't that many normal moves in most games. So, first of all, He doesn't even have everything here. He doesn't have normal buttons at all. He doesn't even have a 6P. No overhead. I don't get how this learns you the game. I don't understand. What the fuck is doing a red Roman can you still don't know when to use it? Am I losing it? Anyways.
And while this list might seem like a lot, these are just Strive system mechanics. I've watched people from all different backgrounds go from nothing to fully understanding all of these in legit like 2 fucking days. Different people learn at different speeds, yeah, but I think that alone is proof enough that with actually good teaching, you will see people pick up fighting games on average at lightning speeds, bro. The average
No. No. Adding some online quests is not going to all of a sudden bring all these people in, bro. What?
person could pick up all of these in a handful of hours with good teaching. That's my point. And you'll be left with a player 10 times better.
That still doesn't teach you anything. You still learn through experience and trial and error. But I do think it's a good idea to add these quests to online. That seems like a good idea. And maybe they stick around on your screen, right? Like let's go back. Let's say right here it shows your quest. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It shows like your quest. Maybe you can pin a quest as well of choice, but like if you don't pin a quest, it just shows your top quest essentially. And it shows you, oh, use 6P to anti-air. You know what I mean? But the match just plays out normally. And the further you progress, the more different the quests become, the more difficult, I guess. Maybe eventually it says hit a TOD.
With good teaching. That's my point. And you'll be left with a player.
But again, it doesn't teach you anything. The game teaches you through experience still. But I think that's a cool idea.
Better, 10 times more fulfilled, and
For
someone
sure.
having 10 times more fun than the guy who was told to fuck off and go do the written tutorials. Now, this quest or gauntlet mode that is used to unlock rank would be the big flashing color first mode you see when opening the game.
See how it doesn't work? Because then you feel like I'm playing the baby mode. If this was just player match, and then in player match you have your quests, that's a lot better already.
Of course. But because mandating and forcing players to go through something like this is not something that everyone might like, as briefly mentioned earlier, there are people who truly just enjoy mashing buttons to play these games. You could still play casual multiplayer matches out of the box, but the game will hit you with that. Without going through quest mode, you will most likely have no idea how to play this game. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yep. Quest mode will pit you against real players as well as rewarding you for completing quests. It will teach you how to play.
See, just put the quest in. I think that fixes his plan. I think the plan is cool. I actually think the plan is good. This is the best thing he said in the whole video. But just put the quest in normal online and there you go.
Put it inside. That coupled with meaningful single player content, I think is a recipe for the genre to finally explode, bro. The reason everyone loves Smash but they hate every other fighting game is because they're willing to look past the genre's fundamental issues that are felt by majority of people because
The majority of Smash players do not feel the flaws of that game at all. Just because Smash is built in a way where you can enjoy it casually.
of the allure of Smash Bros. I mean, it's Smash Bros. It's fucking amazing. Think about it. When the next Smash game comes out, all your friends are probably gonna buy it because the vibe of the game will draw them in. But those very same people are probably also drawn into other fighting games as well when they look at them. But because of everything we've talked about, they're always drawn out. But if there was just a fighting game you could buy and have all your friends enjoy learning how to play it, like genuinely have a great time and be rewarded for learning the shit, and once they've learned all the mechanics, they're put into the big league ultimate goal of ranked, or maybe their ultimate goal is fighting you, or maybe just being able to play the game and have fun, a mode like this would get them there. I'm not saying anyone.
But the thing is, a person who doesn't want to play fighting games, or let me not say that, a person who doesn't want to learn these games is still not going for it, bro. This doesn't inherently fix anything. It adds something. It adds an additional motivator. But this is not what will get people who don't like learning fighting games to all of a sudden dive into it.
at any level can beat whoever they want at chess. I'm saying the only way for both players to have fun and for both players to have a chance is for both players to have and understand the pieces on the board. Even if one player is clearly better than the other, it can still be enjoyable for both people so long as they both have all the pieces. That was a lot of boats. Something like that would be a fucking game changer. Like, I'm not even a super fighting game head myself, but I'll just be watching YouTube and I'll see a clip like,
I mostly just like to vibe. I like to have a good time. And it's basically impossible to have a good time in Street Fighter if you're not pretty good at the game, because it's hard to have fun if you're literally never winning. Especially when most people who play a game like this are really good and they're pretty hardcore about it. So if you're just kind of casually trying to have fun.
Once again, that was in a time where fighting games were even more niche than today. So could you imagine even just trying to find somebody on your skill level? It was just not happening if you're trash at the game.
In Street Fighter, I mean, it's probably not gonna work out.
Like, this quest mode that he is suggesting wouldn't be able to exist in Street Fighter. Of course, the quests that I lined out, like just putting his quests into, you know what I'm saying, into every online mode, that would be able to exist. But they would still struggle as hard.
Just give up like I did and never play it again.
My childhood gone now! And I'm just like, this fucking genre! What are you doing?
this genre in terms of
Most people don't want to put hours into learning a game. They want to just play. That's what it comes down to.
gameplay is generally an 11 out of 10 most of the time. Fundamentally 11 out of 10, bro. It has the thrill of fighting a Dark Souls boss, but it's a real ass person. The satisfaction of feeling yourself get better, the exhilaration of a fat ass victory. But the majority of people are denied from ever experiencing that because of the genre's current format.
No, they're denied from experiencing that because they don't want to learn. They're not listening to Justin Wong. Let's pull it up one more time.
That's a cheat move.
Welcome to the real world!
Yes.
Time to learn! You gonna learn today!
Right there.
Yes.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a cheat move.
You gonna learn today!
No, you're not. You're using a cheat move.
You gon' learn today. Thank you for watching.